For today's video, we'll be taking a look at a premium Intel Z890 motherboard from ASUS that's targeted squarely at folks intending to build a white-coloured Intel Core Ultra 200 series PC, the ASUS ROG Strix Z890-A gaming Wi-Fi. Sporting support for Intel's Raptor Lake Core Ultra 200 series of desktop processors and potentially Intel's Raptor Lake Refresh processors that are rumoured to arrive in early 2026, we'll be taking a closer look at the specs of this board to see if it's any good. Let's get started. As a quick recap, Intel released its current gen Raptor Lake Core Ultra 200 series of processors for sale to the public in October last year, alongside motherboards powered by the range-topping Intel Z890 chipset. The Raptor Lake lineup wasn't great owing to the fact that its performance isn't really all that much better than the predecessor 14th generation Raptor Lake Refresh parts, especially on the gaming performance front, where we had severe instances of performance regression when comparing Raptor Lake to Intel's 14th gen Raptor Lake Refresh product offerings. To Intel's credit, productivity performance and power efficiency were indeed improved with Raptor Lake, but by and large, AMD's Zen 5 Ryzen 9000 series of processors are arguably still the better processor offerings available on the market today. In any case, let's hope Raptor Lake Refresh is going to improve things in Intel's favour when it finally launches, and in the lead up to that, let's take a look at the ASUS ROG Strix Z890-A gaming Wi-Fi that, as its name implies, sports the Z890 chipset and sits within the performance-oriented ROG Strix series of gaming motherboard offerings, where it places below the range-topping ROG Maximus series and sits above the mainstream tough gaming lineup as well as the budget-friendly Prime series of motherboard offerings by ASUS. Now, this being a motherboard that's targeted at white-coloured PC builds, the Z890-A gaming Wi-Fi comes in a box that sports a white, light grey and silver colorway that looks pretty nice, with a smattering of gamer-oriented Republic of Gamers motifs all around. Moving over to the rear of the box, we get the usual summary of specs for this board. We'll take a closer look at these specs later on in this video. On a side note, if you're new to the ALK Tech channel, do consider subscribing so as to keep up to date with the latest product releases in the PC hardware world. With that, let's have a look at the contents of the box. Right, we see that the Z890-A gaming Wi-Fi comes with a white-coloured Wi-Fi antenna right here. Let's set aside the board for the moment to see what other accessories ASUS has included with the board. First up, we get a quick start guide. And this is accompanied by an ASUS web storage promotional offer leaflet. We do also get a sheet of ROG stickers in silver, as well as a packet of accessories. Let's see what we've got within the pack. First things first, we get two SATA 3 cables, and these are accompanied by 3 packs of M.2 drive rubber pads that can be used to add additional height clearance for single-sided M.2 drives. We do also get a M.2 Q latch attachment, a pack of cable ties like so, an extension thermal pad for folks intending to install a M.2 SSD in the 22110 form factor, as well as a ROG keychain. Onto the board itself, we see that ASUS has gone for a predominantly white and silver aesthetic with some black components for contrast. The PCB is white in color, and on the whole, I do think that the board is pretty good looking, though it might not pander to those of you who would like a pure white aesthetic. As can be seen, the board comes with an integrated I/O shield design and has large silver heatsinks all around. Over on the rear of the board, we see that the PCB is colored in grey and we get a slew of ROG motifs, which are a nice touch, in spite of the fact that most of these motifs would likely never see the light of day when the board is installed inside of a PC case. Fans of RGB lighting effects for their PC builds will be pleased to note that the board comes with what ASUS calls a polymo lighting feature on the integrated I/O shield shroud, which I think looks pretty neat. In terms of heatsink coverage, the Z890 chipset is cooled by a large passive heatsink with no shortage of ROG marketing text and motifs, and we do also get full heatsink coverage for all 5 of the board's M.2 slots. The VRM heatsinks for this board are sizable, and ASUS has included 16 +1 +2 +2 power phases with 90 amp power stages. For memory support, the ROG Strix Z890-A gaming Wi-Fi comes with 4 DDR5 slots that, as of the time of publishing this video, comes with support for up to 256GB of RAM and the DDR5 9066 standard when overclocked, with plastic slots of a single tab design. Naturally, the board also supports Intel XMP, which are built-in overclocking profiles for DDR5 memory. It's great to note that the board also supports the latest DIMM format on the block, that is, clocked unbuffered DIMMs, which come with a clock driver on the memory module so as to improve signal stability, thereby paving the way for even higher operating frequencies. In terms of front panel USB connectivity, we get a USB 20Gbps Type-C front panel header right next to the RAM slots, and beneath it, a single USB 5Gbps Type-A front panel header that provides support for up to 2 USB 5Gbps Type-A ports. While still on the topic of front panel USB connectivity, the bottom edge of the board houses 2 USB 2.0 front panel headers, with each header providing support for 2 USB 2.0 Type-A ports. Some interesting features to highlight. Back at the top of the board, we get a CPU overvoltage jumper that enables higher CPU voltages for overclocking purposes, a set of QLEDs that can help with troubleshooting PC startup issues, as well as a start button that, you guessed it right, allows you to power on the PC. Over on the bottom edge of the board, we get a Thunderbolt header that is to be used with an optional ASUS Thunderbolt add-on card for more Thunderbolt ports, a thermal sensor header that allows you to connect an optional thermistor cable so as to monitor the temperature of devices within your PC case, as well as a chassis intrusion header. Moving on to expansion slots, this board comes with a PCIe 5.0 x16 slot that sports the ASUS Safe Slot feature, which reinforces the slot for use with heavy graphics cards. This said slot also has the new PCIe slot Q-Release Slim feature, which makes removing a graphics card an even simpler affair. There is no need to release a latch or even push down on a button anymore. All you have to do is to pull the graphics card out at a certain angle towards the latch mechanism, and it will come free. We do also get a full-length PCIe 4.0 x16 slot that operates at X4 mode. In the storage department, ASUS has included 4 SATA 3 ports, with all ports in a right-angled configuration so as to aid with cable management. For M.2 slots, the board comes with a single PCIe 5.0 x4 M.2 slot and 4 PCIe 4.0 x4 M.2 slots. Do note that the first 4 slots support M.2 NVMe SSDs only, while the last slot supports either a M.2 NVMe or a M.2 SATA drive. As can be seen, the PCIe 5.0 x4 M.2 slot comes with a pretty fancy heatsink and features the M.2 Q-release mechanism, where pushing down on this metal latch here will release the heatsink from the slot. I must say, the heatsink feels pretty hefty and premium as well. The Gen 5 M.2 slot also comes with a new quality of life feature called Q-Slide, which is a mechanism that slides along a track and snaps into place to securely hold an M.2 drive of varying lengths. You'll notice too that all of the board's M.2 slots also feature an improved Q-Latch, which makes installing and removing a M.2 drive pretty easy, like so. For audio, ASUS has included a high-end Realtek ALC 4080 audio codec with premium audio capacitors, as well as a Savitech SV3H712 amplifier chip. Wired internet connectivity is courtesy of Intel's i226V chip that provides support for 2.5 gigabit Ethernet, while Wi-Fi support is courtesy of an Intel BE200NGW Wi-Fi 7 part that supports the 320 MHz channel width and also serves up Bluetooth 5.4 support. In the cooling and RGB departments, the board comes with 8 fan headers that are located in these regions of the board. Also included are 3 Gen 2 addressable RGB headers located in these areas. Moving over to the rear I/O, the ROG Strix Z890-A gaming Wi-Fi goes for an integrated I/O shield design. The board comes with a DisplayPort 1.4 connector that supports display output of up to 8K resolution at 60Hz, a HDMI 2.1 port that supports display output of up to 4K resolution at 60Hz, a clear CMOS button, a BIOS flashback button that allows end users to update the board's BIOS without needing to install a CPU, RAM or graphics card. 5. USB 10Gbps Type-A ports, with this port here supporting the BIOS flashback feature. 2. USB 5Gbps Type-A ports. 2. Thunderbolt 4 USB Type-C ports that support DisplayPort and Thunderbolt video output. On the Thunderbolt display mode, the board supports up to the 8K resolution at 60Hz for a single display via 1 Thunderbolt 4 port, or 2 displays via 2 Thunderbolt 4 ports at a maximum resolution of 4K at 60Hz each. Moving on, we get a USB 10Gbps Type-C port that supports up to 30 watts of power delivery for fast charging, a 2.5 gigabit Ethernet port, Wi-Fi antenna connectors with ASUS's proprietary Q antenna connector design, as well as your usual audio jack connectors. To sum up, the ASUS ROG Strix Z890-A gaming Wi-Fi is a high-end Intel Z890 motherboard designed for premium white-colored Intel Core Ultra 200 series PC builds, where it has plenty of bells and whistles to satisfy the needs of PC hardware enthusiasts without going too overboard in terms of the feature list. It comes with a pretty solid VRM setup with 90A power stages, PCIe 5.0 support for both a graphics card and an M.2 drive, plenty of M.2 drive slots without any bifurcation shenanigans, 2.5 gigabit Ethernet, built-in Wi-Fi 7, dual Thunderbolt 4 ports, alongside a plethora of USB Type-C and Type-A connectivity options. We also get lots of quality of life features such as Q-Release Slim, Q-Slide, and so on. The downsides that I can think of is the fact that the Intel Arrow Lake platform isn't at its most competitive. Hopefully, with the rumored arrival of Arrow Lake Refresh, this will allow Intel to give the LGA 1851 platform a much needed boost, though this also brings me on to the next con, which is the fact that the LGA 1851 socket will reach its end of life once Intel's next generation of Nova Lake desktop processors launch, perhaps in end 2026 or even early 2027. With that, thank you so much for watching, hit the like button and get subscribed if you've enjoyed this video, and I'll catch you guys around the next time.